Hello, this is Steve Googe. I have the privilege of serving as the Associational Mission Strategist for Shelby Baptist Association. This narrated PowerPoint is sent to you by the Shelby Baptist Association's Leadership Council. Please review it with your messengers prior to our business and worship meeting scheduled for June the 30th. Christ Community Church, located in Governor's Square in Shelbyville, will host our meeting. After watching the presentation, if you have questions, please contact Bob Perkins, who's a part of our property team, or you can contact a member of our Leadership Council or me. We'll be happy to address any issues or questions that you have. On June 30th, there will be a short presentation of the motion, followed by a time of discussion and questions. These are pictures of the buildings and property that the Shelby Baptist Association currently owns on Henry Clay Street. They have served the association well for over 20 years. No doubt they hold fond memories for many of you. We value the contributions of member churches who sacrifice to make this place a place of worship, counseling, meetings, and ministry possibilities. We pay tribute to those who had a vision that was fulfilled by the purchase of our buildings and property. Their motive was to buy property that would function as a hub for ministry in Shelby and Spencer counties. We pay tribute to how the Lord has used this facility to advance His kingdom, and thank all of you for the way you supported the association when we borrowed thousands of dollars to make this happen. In this picture, you will see the sanctuary and educational building that was formerly used by the Alpha and Omega Hispanic Church. This slide shows a picture of the office of the Shelby Baptist Association, used for 2 decades for the administrative function of the association. For many years, this structure has served us well. Just as those who purchased this facility followed the will of God to invest in this campus, the Associational Leadership Council senses that the Lord is now moving in a different direction. Therefore, at the June 30th meeting of the association, a motion to sell will be presented. If you approve that motion, a second recommendation will follow to sell the property to the Nueva Esperanza Hispanic Church that currently meets at Simpsonville Baptist Church. Now let me share some background information with you. Soon after I became your associational mission strategist, I conducted listening sessions across the association in 2017 and 2018. One of the questions I asked was, are our 3 buildings an asset or liability to the SBA? The overwhelming answer was that our property is a liability. When the Alpha E Omega congregation left our campus in January of 2020, we had some decisions to consider, some options to weigh. The Leadership Council spent many hours discussing how to proceed with our 3 buildings. They prayed and placed every conceivable option that they could think of on the table for discussion. One of the first things the Leadership Council did was to authorize a survey of the land to determine exactly where our property lines were. Now I want to share some background information with you. The Council determined the approximate value of our property by seeking guidance from 2 local real estate agencies. The Council spent many hours discussing how to manage the 3 buildings. The following options, among others, were considered. Here are some key options that were considered. Number 1, we could remain as we are now. But as you can see from the asterisk at the bottom of the page and by numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, it would be a very expensive situation facing the repairs that are needed by our buildings. Second, we could allow a church to use the building free of charge, rent to them, or sell to them. Number 3, we could repurpose all buildings for future ministry needs. Number 4, we could repurpose the sanctuary of the former Alpha E Omega congregation and use it as a new office for the SBA. Number 5, we could make the necessary repairs and then consider a new set of options. The Associational Council prayed over and examined the options documented in the previous slide, along with several other ideas, and then reached a unanimous decision to recommend the sale of the property. The leadership team is ready to make a recommendation to the messengers. Following the SBA's Constitution, the messengers of the association will vote to approve or disapprove the proposal on June the 30th. The meeting was rescheduled 2 times due to COVID-19. Here is the recommendation. It is recommended that the association sell the 3 buildings located at 114, 118, and 120 Henry Clay Street. The asking price is $120,000. It is to be sold in an as-is condition, with the agreement that the association be allowed to continue to use the office building for 90 days at no cost to the association. The Leadership Council will have authority to negotiate the sale of the properties. The Leadership Council will also have the authority to list the properties with Alton Webb and Associates if necessary. That is the motion that will be presented on June the 30th. Being good stewards of associational funds required the leadership team, the Leadership Council, to take a serious look at all needed repairs. Like so many, we have postponed needed repairs, and now the cost for renovation and upkeep is very expensive. This slide shows you some of the considerations that the Leadership Council used in reaching their recommendation. The HVAC units will need to be replaced. One unit is guesstimated by a professional in the field to be 40 years old. The educational building will require an electrician to do a complete new electrical wiring job throughout the entire building. The roof of the office building is leaking and needs to be at least repaired, maybe replaced. Serious plumbing problems are in the educational building. The required repairs in that building are so severe that one contractor would not give an estimate due to the many issues that were visible and possibly invisible to the eye. Here are some additional considerations. The location of the office does not lend itself to adequate visibility. Visitors have a hard time finding us. The educational building has stonework for its foundation. Many rooms have serious leveling issues. In order to bring our buildings up to an acceptable condition, thousands of dollars would be needed. Dollars that could be best utilized in ministry. Here are some additional considerations. There are emotional attachments to our buildings. Many sacrifice time, effort, and money to purchase our current property. A second thing we considered. We have space to store materials. We receive curriculum pieces that are collected for distribution by BookLink and others. Clothing and food are dropped off for Touch Twice Medical Clinic, and other things are dropped off at the associational office, and we do have space for those now. Another consideration is that to lease an office might be expensive. Here is the recommendation one more time. It is recommended that the association sell the 3 buildings located at 114, 118, and 120 Henry Clay Street. The asking price is $120,000. It is to be sold in an as-is condition, with agreement that the association be allowed to continue to use the office building for 90 days at no cost to the association. The Leadership Council will have authority to negotiate the sale of the properties. The Leadership Council will also have the authority to list the property with Alton Webb and Associates if necessary. Please pray about this proposal. Come to the meeting on June 30th ready to vote on this proposal, whether to accept the recommendation of the Leadership Council or to reject it. Again, if you have questions, please contact Bob Perkins or our Leadership Council, any of their members, or me. we will be happy to address those issues. But the most important thing between now and June the 30th is to pray. Pray for God's direction. God bless you now, and I'll see you June the 30th.